Welcome back to another episode as we look at Onshape and Illustrator. This video I'm just sort of recording for reference. I don't know how practical it will be for most people, so let's dive right in. The question that we're presenting ourselves is getting data, design data from Onshape over into Illustrator. Onshape does many great things, but it is not a graphic design program. It's not designed with laser cutter in mind, but I have discovered a way to get color out of the design. And so I'm going to sort of start with the end in mind, and then if you want to learn more of how to get through it, then I'll detail it in this episode. So you have to think there are two ways to get data from Onshape, and for both, you're going to make a drawing and then go to drawing properties. And really the question is it worth it? You can designate color, but you can't thickness. And so the hope is that you have Illustrator, this actual app, so that you learn how to post process it, but maybe you want to take an extra step. So what are the two ways to get design data from Onshape? You either insert a part face, and then you go to this in the drawings, or you insert a sketch. So let's go over to Onshape. Here we have two different sets of design. We either have uh, a variety of shapes that we want to cut and etch. That's sort of one example. And then another example here is we have a part, sort of this box extruded with a hole. So in my first drawing, so there are other videos that talk about this, but you can create a drawing. This is like a blueprint. I have inserted the sketches, and what I've done here is that I've gone over to drawing properties, which is this wrench. I go over to this tab, construction geometry, and it's going to find any Part Studio sketches and it's going to make them all a certain color. If you had construction lines and you wanted to make that your exportable data, you could do that too. So here, let's say if I wanted it red instead, you can see it'll change it. However, it does everything. So this is, again, a sort of workaround, okay? And then drawing two here, I've inserted the part itself. And in this case, because it's an actual part 3D feature and we're sort of taking a projection of it, we'll go over to views, visible edges, and then this is how I designated my true red. So let's move over to Illustrator. Let's assume you knew how to do that, and if you didn't, that's okay. I'm going to cover that later in the episode. Here we are in Illustrator, and there are, of course, other episodes that will cover a bit more of how to use the different menus. So I'm going to do my Command Shift P for place, my two DXFs. Now, an important part here is it's going to say, do you want to merge or add swatches? Illustrator, even though we see that it's a RGB color here, it's going to treat that as a separate color. So we want to add the color swatch. Okay, it says you can't find the fonts, but that's okay because you're not using any typography. Click once and click once. And you should be able to verify if you do this for yourself, and I'm going to show it to you here, that this, when you double click on it, oops, I'm adding text. That's not what I want to do. When we click on it, that it is indeed, here you'll see, if we have our color swatch on, or sorry, color menu here, we switch to RGB, it is true blue. However, we still need to make the correct thickness. Right here, stroke. If we want to etch, we got to enter that 0.01. Okay, likewise, we can enter into our red group here, the ones with red lines. By default, it's 0.709. I tried to see if we could force it to 0.01. Unfortunately, you cannot. So you still need to type in 0.01. Okay, and of course, by default, it comes in black. So if you wanted some sort of raster engraved, you wouldn't need to do any additional work. So again, I'm just showing you that it is possible, but I don't think it's worth your time. You can certainly try, and I think it's just a good skill to have. But hopefully you have Illustrator so that you can just bring in your DXF data and convert things as needed. The last thing I'm going to show you, which you may want to know, is how I actually got these drawings. So you know what? I think I will just save that for another episode. Pause it here, and now you see that indeed with the right blueprint / drawings, we can designate the correct colors. You can pause to see where it is in the menu, and then move over to Illustrator, and it will, as long as you add the color swatches, preserve that color. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.